Hello, this is Patrick Haggerty doing Aunt Patty's Lavender Hour. Our guest today is one of my best girlfriends, maybe my best girlfriend, actually, um, Paisley Fields.
Hi,
Paisley
Patrick.
Fields is done several Lavender Country tours and shows with me. Paisley played keyboard for the last ballet we did. And we have all kinds of plans, and we'll see which blow up and which come to fruition. But Paisley is an up and coming country music star, queer, of course.
Yes.
And Paisley thinks that he's going to end up being more important than me.
And I never said that.
Are you going to divulge your age?
No.
Okay,
The
cool.
lady never
Well,
tells.
he's not. He's not very old yet. And Paisley was born in and raised in Iowa. Hudson, Iowa
It's in Iowa.
is our hometown. Tell us a little bit about Hudson, dear.
It's a small little farming town. Well, you've been there before. You stayed at my parents' house when we were on tour. There were no queer people that I knew growing up. It was very conservative. But I actually had a pretty good experience in the church, believe it or not. That was my first job, was playing the piano at our little country church, and they were really supportive of me. And um, that was strangely a good experience. But I just felt pretty isolated there and like an outsider, you know?
Did the church know you're queer? Or they
Yeah.
just overlooked it?
I think they had an inkling.
They had a clue, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
So, how old were you when you started playing in the church?
I think I was 14.
And was it all Happy Jesus stuff or what?
Yeah, it was. It was Catholic, so it was very.
Oh, it's Catholic?
Yeah.
Well, things have changed in the Catholic Church since I was Catholic. Um, they didn't have keyboard players like you in the Catholic Church I went to.
Oh, no.
So, did you hired out doing a lot of farm work when you were a kid? Did you?
Yeah, I worked on a farm for maybe like 3 or 4 summers, detasseling, and that's where corn is like one of the biggest products in Iowa. So
Did you shuck corn?
we detassel corn, which is a little different. You go and pull the tops off so they cross pollinate, and you get the.
Oh, you're breeding the corn.
Yes, I was a corn breeder.
And so, when did you leave Iowa?
So I moved out when I was 18. Even like my first move was just a little bit, and then I went all the way to New York, and then I moved to Japan for a little bit.
How long? What got you to Japan?
I went there with Ryan, and I studied. I was on a cultural studies visa, so I studied taiko drumming, which is this big ancient Japanese drum. And then I formed a band when I was out there called Sora Ocean with a Japanese musician named Kazunari Abe. And he played the shinobue, which is this Japanese bamboo flute. And then I played piano and sang.
Really?
Yeah, so it wasn't country music.
No, it wasn't, but it was a cultural experience that was, I'm sure, indelible in your brain at this point.
Yeah, yeah, it was a really, really incredible year and
I
changed up.
bet. Uh-huh. So you were there for a year,
Yeah, for 1 year. Yeah.
and then you went to New York.
Went back to New York, and then I decided after playing music full time in Japan that I wanted to really make that happen. I mean, that's originally why I went to New York in the first place, was to play music, but I had other jobs while I was there. And after living in Japan, I decided I'm going to do this full time. So I worked for this small record label for a little bit, and I played piano at these piano bars for a while, and just took a bunch of random gigs and tried to, get my career together and make a living in New York.
That's incredible right off the top. If you're going to actually make a living doing music, you're like hot shit. It's true. When did you start doing queer music?
Um, I guess I've always done queer music. I've always written how I felt, but as far as like queer country music, probably right about the time I got back from Japan. Because when I was there, I sort of was able to really reconnect with my
Oh,
Iowa roots in a way. Just like being so far away and away from everybody I knew helped me sort of realize some things about myself and what I find important and what I
so
think.
you've been doing queer country for a while.
Almost a decade. I got back in 2010, and I hadn't started Paisley Fields yet. I hadn't started performing as Paisley Fields yet, but I was starting to write country music on in different projects and stuff.
How many albums have you made?
So I've made a, quite a few albums with different projects, but as far as Paisley Fields, we have two EPs, and we're about to release our second full-length record, which you appear on Stay Away From My Man.
Uh-huh.
That comes out June 5th.
When did you find out about Lavender Country?
I found out about Lavender Country shortly after I started Paisley Fields, because I wanted to play country music and I didn't really know of any queer people doing country music. So I wasn't sure that I could do it, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. And I know there's got to be other queer people out there who are doing country music. So I started
Uh-huh.
doing some research on queer people playing country music, and I found you and found Lavender Country, and that was maybe 5 years ago, 2015, 2014, something like that.
Well, we've done quite a bit of work together,
Yeah, we have.
including that long tour through the South.
Yeah.
That was my first time in the South.
Oh, that's right. That was fun. I
Yeah,
love that Atlanta show.
that was a high for me.
That was me
We
too.
did Durham, Atlanta, New Orleans, Memphis, and St. Louis.
Yep.
And then we did another tour through the Midwest, right?
Yep. And then we did um, Milwaukee and Lansing, Chicago. Did a few shows in Iowa.
Are you planning on sticking with queer country
I am. I'm
and
sticking
making
with
your
it.
mark there? Are
Yep.
you there for a lifetime?
I think so.
Hey, once you hit the groove, it's hard to get out
Yeah, it took me long enough to get here, so I might as well stick with it.
and see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big boom in gay country
Mm-hmm.
right now.
That's you.
Well, maybe so. One could say that, but it was a long time in the desert, all alone for decades for me. And to see this explosion in queer country is really heartening. And to see that I created a monster.
Well, I
You're
have a
welcome.
question for you, even though I know you're interviewing me. So when you were making, you probably get asked this all the time, but when you were making the original Lavender Country album, did you ever think that it would take you this far? Like you would still be playing these songs now?
No, this is what I thought. Um, 2 years after I made Lavender Country, like by 76 or so, we'd run our gamut and we'd sold all the albums that we had. And there was no market for gay country, especially radical gay country. And I wasn't stupid. I knew there was no market when we made the album. And I never intended to have a career doing queer country music because it was absurd, totally out of the question. And I knew that I would have to go a different way and do different stuff. And I did do different stuff, a lot of different stuff, but it wasn't gay country. And by the end of the 70s, I had made my peace with Lavender Country being dead. And what I expected or what I anticipated was that Lavender Country was going to be dead for as long as I was on the planet. I was singing old songs to old people, and I was happy to be working. I was working like 100 shows a year with Bobby Taylor doing senior stuff. And I was thrilled to be back into music and working again. And then somebody put Cocksucking Tears on YouTube and it blew up and changed my life. And it was actually quite a surprise. So the answer is no, I didn't anticipate what was going to happen with Lavender Country and where it was going to take me and all that. But I've told you several times, and I'm gonna say it again. I know, and you know, that when it comes to music technique and development and theory and all that kind of stuff, I mean, you're like light years ahead of me. You are, and you know that, and so do I. And there's actually no comparison between your skill and mine. How I feel about you is that you're supposed to stand on my shoulders. You're supposed to take what I created and use it as a template for your own development. And you're supposed to go higher, further, deeper, longer, faster than I ever dreamed possible. That's your job. If you live through this mess that we're in, you're going to have a much more developed, longer, higher, better career in country music than I ever dreamed possible. That's where you're headed, in my mind. What do you think about what we're doing politically right now in this country?
Well,
let's talk about that a little bit.
Oh, God. I think our country's politics are a disaster and an embarrassment. I never expected this idiot to become our president. And it's just like each day, it seems, it's like we're living in you know that newspaper, The Onion, the like satire newspaper? It feels like the headlines are from that, but they're real. It's like a never-ending joke that's not funny.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get Bobby Taylor in here just to say hi.
Okay.
Since he's sitting right here. Sit right in there.
Okay.
There you are. There's your.
Hi.
This is Bobby Taylor.
Hey, Bobby.
Hi, what's your name?
Paisley.
This is Paisley Fields. I've been working
Paisley
with him.
Fields, okay.
Yeah, working with him forever. Bobby Taylor is the guy that I did senior work with for like 14 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a good time.
We had a good time. We got pretty good actually in the end.
Yeah.
We're going to put this on YouTube. So you're going to be a star, darling. So when did you get married? When did you meet your husband?
I met my husband a couple years after I moved here. So we've been together 14 years.
Oh, really? That long?
Yeah. So we got married 2000, like right after it became legal, like a year or so after it became legal. So like 2015.
Oh, uh-huh. And he works finance, right?
Yeah, he's working back in the bedroom, working from home now.
Oh, back in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, maybe we can drag him out here and he can wave. Ryan.
How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Hanging in there, having a blast here.
Is your man treating you right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Are you treating him right?
Yes. All the
Oh, that's so.
That's the right answer. So you're not sure. You're not sure what's next. We're waiting for things to open up so we can get back on stage where we live, right?
I mean, I'm ready for it, but we definitely have to make sure it's safe for people, and I don't want to like put anybody in danger or at a health risk.
All that.
Yeah. I think we just kind of have to wait and see. And I've been writing. I've written a bunch of new music. I've been doing some charcoal.
Oh, wow, cool. So you've been keeping busy.
Yeah, I've been staying like fairly productive writing and just working on my scales and stuff.
I've been working on these shows. It's daunting for me since I don't know what I'm doing. I've been doing a little writing.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've got one in the hopper that's called The Black and White Waltz.
Okay.
And it's an idealized, politically oriented song about an interracial marriage.
I want to hear that.
Since I've been in one for 31 years, I thought maybe I had enough material to write about it.
Write about what you know is what they say.
So
a couple of political songs too. Maybe it influenced by Lavender Country.
Oh, are you thinking about getting a little more political?
I'm thinking about it. I mean, I have a couple that are overtly political. They're more radical than what I'm used to.
Well, you're not the first. You know, Orville Peck has gone political and radical a little bit, and Andrew Saw is developing, and it's just something that's in the air for all of us. It's like, if you're queer and you're country and you're living in the Trump age, it sort of forces you into a corner. Go ahead and sit down at your piano.
All right, should I sing one? I'll do "Stay Away from My Man."
This is on your new recording, right?
Yeah, this is the one that's that you appear on the new recording. I've seen you strutting your stuff at the honky-tonk watch where you're putting your hands. You got a bad reputation and I got a good feeling you're more trouble than a pit of quicksand. You're a two-stepping, two-timing, straight-acting, fancy pants queen. You just don't understand. Well, he might be cute, but you're gonna get the boot if you don't stay away from my man. If you don't stay away from my man, your face is gonna meet the palm of my hand. Turn that tight bod around and get out of this town with your polo shirt and cheap spray tan. I'm not putting up with you for a minute. If I say it again, boy, you're gonna get it. I'll put you on a boat to Japan if you don't stay away from my man. I know he's a catch and that's why I caught him. You don't have a wandering eye. He's too polite to tell himself, but I can put my manners aside. You're a butch buzzing muscle Mary, always skipping leg day. Honey, you just don't understand. I'm gonna slap you silly if you touch my hillbilly, so you better stay away from my man. If you don't stay away from my man, your face is gonna meet the palm of my hand. Turn that sweet butt around and get out of this town, and do it while you still can. I'm not putting up with you for a minute. If I say it again, boy, you're gonna get it. You can listen to the song on Shazam, but you better stay away from my man. He ain't Wendy and you ain't Peter Pan, so you better stay away from my man.
Okay.